Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Final Fantasy, where we're about ready to finish the game. Let's just check what items we got on hand at the minute. I think we're probably pretty good, to be honest. Alright, so we're ready to go and do this. So let's try and polish this off today, and then we can move on. Right, so this is the Chaos Shrine, which you may remember right back at the start of the game. Is where we fought Garland, and he threatened to knock us all down, and then failed to do so. There are also some pretty crap enemies in here, who we can devastate right now. Ooh, excuse me. I just call that a sound effect. And last time, of course, we came in here to get into the Labyrinth of Time. And obviously I could go and do that a bunch more times to go and see all the alternative floors and so on, but, you know, we've been at this quite a long time now, so I think it's probably time that we took aim for the finale. So in order to do that, we go in here. The light of the four we've been seeking all this time. That light will open the time portal. The portal will transport you 2,000 years into the past, to the beginning of the time loop. The curse of the fiends changed us into this form and prevented us from speaking. The light of the crystals has enabled us to speak again. So you may recall a few episodes back when we met the Luthinians, they said that a bunch of people went out to try and stop the four fiends, but they disappeared. They never came back. Well, here they are. We are Sky People. We came to this shrine in our attempt to locate the source of the world's ruin. That was 400 years ago. Sucks for you, huh? Shine the light of the four crystals on the black crystal in the center of the chamber. Doing so will open a time portal to this shrine as it existed 2,000 years ago. The power the four fiends are absorbing from the crystals was being fed into the past by the black crystal. The one distorting the beautiful light of the crystals is the one we've been looking for all along. The true root of all evil lies just ahead. Well, I think we'd probably better go and deal with it then, hadn't we? You focus the light of the four shining crystals, fire, earth, water, and wind, on the black crystal. The flow of time surges and space begins to warp. Just one step forward and you will travel back 2,000 years in time. Better take that step forward then, hadn't we? Whee! Okay, so we're now in the Chaos Shrine as it existed 2,000 years ago. This is the final dungeon. Featuring purple worms. Sadly, not quite as dangerous as they are in their D&D incarnation. Right. Now, given all the endgame crap we've done, we probably don't really need to hunt around for treasures too much, because Pierre is equipped with that barbarian sword, which absolutely devastates everything in its path. We're all level 60. Pierre and Sam have got near maximum hit points. Tim has got maximum magic points. There's really not a lot to worry about, to be honest. But we'll have a bit of an explore anyway, just in case. So the stairs down in the lower left corner, remember that. I find it kind of interesting that you get a lot more experience in here than you do in those Soul of Chaos dungeons. Less so Labyrinth of Time, because that was reasonably generous. with its experience rewards. But the enemies here are much easier, but worth a lot more experience. So if you were really struggling with Soul of Chaos or the Labyrinth of Time, then you could actually come and grind in here for a bit, because as you saw when we came in, there's actually a teleporter back to the present as well. So it's not a point of no return or anything. But that's fine, we've done them all now. I mean, as I say, I know we didn't defeat every single boss that there is to defeat, but in the interests of time, which we've already spent an awful lot of on this one game, and this is one of the shortest Final Fantasies, remember, in the interests of time, let's just try and get this done. Alright, not a lot going on around here. Aside from... that's not what I meant to do. Aside from many dragons. Many acid dragons. Alright, let's... oh. I feel like we're going to be pretty high level by the time we reach the final boss at this rate. But not to worry. It'd be heroic if you weren't just a little bit overpowered with it. After all, that's part of the joy of doing all that endgame stuff in a Final Fantasy game. Running around the whole world, doing bits and pieces before you fight the final boss. The whole point of that is so you can get completely overpowered and absolutely crush the end of the game. Now, I can't remember if you need to go up or down. So we got down in the lower left corner, we got up in this lower right corner. So since we're here, let's try this way. You're going to need to heal up in a minute. Nothing's doing that much damage, but it's just chipping away at us slowly. Alright. Do your thing, Tom. Lovely stuff. Alright, second floor. We can go straight up to the third floor, or we could have a bit of a look round. Let's have a bit of a look round. I guess we're going up, then. I have a feeling that that door you can see in the middle, that's actually where we need to end up. So you sort of go up and around and down again, I think. I think that's how it works. It's been a while. It's been a while since I last did this. Many combats. Again, this is combat as disorientation tactic rather than combat as challenge, I think. Level up. Already level 61. There we go. You don't scare me. With your pathetic elemental spells. I smash you for 2,291 points of damage. Yeah, Pierre's actually outstripping Sam for damage now. Which is pretty cool. Alright, up we go. Then what? Down here? Oh no, vampire lords, what will we do? We will flare them. Hack and slash and hack and slash. See, this is part of the joy of older style RPGs, in my experience. It's just that feeling of power creep. And that feeling that as you progress, you become more and more powerful and able to take on more and more challenges. Until you reach a point where you quite plausibly think of yourself as almost invincible. And then you go and meet Shinryu and realise that maybe you weren't quite as invincible as you thought. But that is what super bosses are for. Super bosses are there to provide you some sort of challenge for when you reach these extreme power levels. Alright, nothing going on there. So yeah, I mean, I've talked numerous times at this point about how this PSP version compares to the NES original. And obviously it came out a lot later. But yeah, I do honestly believe that this is arguably the definitive way to experience the original Final Fantasy now. I mean, I guess in some regards you can question whether or not it is the original Final Fantasy at this point. Because there's so many changes being made to the balance, the gameplay, the visuals, the music. I mean, it's a remake rather than a port, isn't it? So the original NES version has its charms, don't get me wrong. But there's also a lot wrong with it. Not from a sort of, ooh, I don't like this perspective, but there's a lot of it that genuinely just doesn't work properly. Like most of the spells. And so what you have in this version is sort of, I guess, an opportunity to play the game sort of as it was intended. I mean, if the gaming hardware of the time was capable of graphics and sounds like this, we can probably presume that this is what it would have ended up looking like. I mean, this was already a fairly retro-looking game for the PSP anyway, as the PSP was capable of pretty decent 3D graphics. So, I mean, they could well have gone the whole hog and done an actual 3D remake of this, such as the Final Fantasy III remake that we will eventually get onto. That's the version we'll be playing. But there's something very pleasant about the old school 2D 16/32-bit pixel art thing we've got going on here. It's just a good way to experience this game. Like I say, it's one of those things that it's not worth getting sort of too uppity about people preferring one version or the other. I know some people do prefer playing the original NES version, and that's absolutely fine. There's definitely something to be said for the authentic preservation of history, warts and all. But I think the main benefit that this version offers over the original is not just sort of the gameplay refinements and balance and that sort of thing, but the fact that there's more stuff to do. As the original Final Fantasy, although it wasn't sort of heavy on giving you clues and stuff, it was pretty linear. And there weren't a lot of side activities to go and do. So once you reached the end of the game, there wasn't really much to do other than go and finish it. There weren't super bosses. That wasn't a thing until later in the series. I forget the first one that actually incorporated a super boss. I think it was Final Fantasy III with the Iron Giant. But yeah, the combination of Soul of Chaos and the Labyrinth of Time in these versions just adds a lot of value. A lot of extra playtime. I do wish they'd re-released this version though. Is at the minute it's confined to the PSP. Which means that your only options for playing it are emulation, as we're doing here. Where do we go? Yeah, so, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, your only options for playing this at the minute are emulation, as we're doing here. For video capturing purposes. I do have an original copy of this, so suck it. Emulation allows you to play it on the TV, of course. Or you can get an original copy of it for PSP on UMD. Or you can download it for PlayStation Vita and play it on your Vita. Now, sadly, the Vita version is not compatible with PlayStation TV. Which is the reason I'm not capturing from the Vita version. Or the PSP version running on Vita, I should say. I'm confused. But yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. And once again, excuse my phone. My friends today, Sam, Tom, Tim, and James, they are currently discussing the new Witcher series, which is on Netflix. Which apparently is pretty good. Against all odds. Not against all odds. I mean, Netflix has done some decent stuff. It's just The Witcher is a series that a lot of people feel quite strongly about. And there was some of the stuff that came out, the sort of preview footage and images and so on, that people thought was a bit questionable. But it seems it's pretty good. So people I know who have watched it, I'm going to go the other way and see what's downstairs. Yeah, people I know who've watched it, they say it's pretty good. I did also read the most atrocious review of anything I've ever read, ever, courtesy of, I think it was Entertainment Weekly. Their review of it was two people having a dialogue, supposedly about it, but actually just sort of chatting about, oh, how terrible it is. Despite the fact that, I think between them they watched 2 episodes. One of them skipped straight to the 5th episode for some inexplicable reason, because who would dare suggest that a reviewer should watch the whole thing they're supposed to be reviewing? Imagine being too lazy to watch television. That's a new level of Lethargy, isn't it? Have we found the biggest room of nothing in the entire game? Have we? But yeah, anyway, The Witcher. Apparently quite good. I haven't watched it yet. Not sure if I'm going to. I quite like The Witcher. I quite enjoy the games, but not enough to sort of get particularly rabid about it. This is a big room of almost nothing. But yeah, The Witcher 3 in particular is one of those games that I quite enjoyed, but I spent a lot of time in that game wishing that it wasn't an open world game. Because the more scripted, confined stuff was amazing. Like the sort of stuff where you're playing detective, basically. That was fantastic. But anytime you're trudging through a swamp looking for little marks on the map, just in case there's something interesting, there's literally nothing here, is there? Yeah, that side of things can go suck a dick. So I think probably for me, The Witcher 2 is the ideal approach. Because that provided large areas with plenty of freedom to explore, but also it didn't overwhelm the player with possibilities that didn't matter. And I think that's one reason that I like the sort of Final Fantasy style RPGs a lot more than many Western RPGs these days. It's because although in games like this that you have the option to go and do stuff that doesn't matter, like the Soul of Chaos Dungeon, like the Labyrinth of Time and stuff, there's just a bit more of a sense of structure to it. Like it's clear what your options are, why you might want to do them, but there's also no feeling of obligation that you need to go and do all of them. And there's also a finite number of them as well. That's sort of my big problem with your average open world game these days, is what I've come to think of as the Ubisoft problem. Which is a huge map, covered in icons. You have no idea where to start, or even if you need to pay any attention to half of those icons. Whereas in this, you've got a clear path through the main story. At endgame, you've got 5 extra things to do if you want to. And that's that. That's it. You're done. Obviously, later Final Fantasy expand that a bit, to a certain extent. But even in the more open games, like 11, 12, 14 and 15, and to a certain extent 13, there's still that feeling of structure. That feeling that you know what there is to do, where you need to go and do that, and why you might want to do it. Anyway, we're getting nowhere, huh? I guess up was the right way. But we just didn't look around enough. Well, if nothing else, we are gaining levels like the clappers. We're up to level 63 now. No, not that way. This way. Barbarians are just such insane damage. It's so satisfying. Just to see those big numbers. Alright, this way. The entire floor of this first floor is now covered with monster corpses, and still we're wading through them. What is this way? Oh no, that's just the way to the stairs down, isn't it? I am a dumb. Tom, you heal everyone. Notice that pretty much everything here is doing party-wide damage. So it's sort of clearly, besides disorienting you, it's sort of clearly also an attempt to try and exhaust you before the final boss as well. Alright, up the stairs. Now there really is nothing we can do here for now, because those are both dead ends. So, continue on upwards. Let's do this methodically. So let's search all the way across the top first. Alright, so nothing at the top. Let's go down a step. Alright, so here we got a room of nothing. And a wall. James is 3 episodes in and really enjoying The Witcher, if anyone was curious. Nothing in that corner. Another room with nothing in it. Aha! There we go. Get out of here. Oh, treasures. Treasures. Dry ether. I think that's the one that restores all your magic points, not turbo ether. Possibly, maybe, I don't know anymore. And it doesn't really matter at this point. Sam still emphatically the glass cannon of the party. But at least he has more hit points than the white mage now. Elixir! Alright, what do we got here? Yeah, remember the loot from right at the beginning? Oh my goodness! It made some stairs! And a monster! 4 monsters. 4 monsters who are getting a flare up their bum. Right up there. Just gonna jam the end of that stuff right in there. And let rip. Come on, Tim. Insert. And explode. Lovely. Is that level 64? It is level 64. Marvellous. Are we going to reach level 70 by the time we finish this? Find out next. No. Only joking. Alright, nothing in that. So, where are we going this time, I wonder? Lovely block from Tim. I remember this place being quite confusing. I didn't remember quite how confusing it was. But that's okay, we'll get there in the end. And I can pretty much guarantee it will be quicker than the last 2 episodes. Ooh, dropping mega elixirs. Just getting mega elixir as a standard drop from trash enemies is quite something. Where are we going? I bet we're going up at the top, because that would make sense with the areas of the floors that we visited before. So I bet there's nothing in this corner. No. But I bet there is something in one of the northern corners. Ooh, excuse me. Pepsi Max makes you burp. There we go. Lovely. Right, back to the first floor, and then I reckon we probably want to go to the basement. And so we just make our way over here. Mage death! Death by mage pounding. Why have you never got any hit points, Sam? Infuriating. Never taking a monk with me ever again. That's not fair. They are good. The lack of need for weapons, plus the massive damage they put out, more than makes up for their immense squishiness. Come on, Tom. Do your thing. I said another level or two and Sam might reach maximum possible hit points. Not that it matters. Or with someone sneezing on him, taking away half his hit points. I'm being mean. He's a valuable member of the team. Just ignore the fact that he spent the entire Omega fight on the floor. He was up for Chronodia. He stayed standing for most of Chronodia. Or he was standing at the end, I should say. And the conversation has now moved on to his Dark Materials, which is a series of books I like very much. And quite enjoyed the movie from a few years back, but have not seen any of the new TV series. After this episode, I am going to turn off notification sounds for WhatsApp, because I'm aware it's probably a bit annoying. It's annoying for me as well. But my trouble is, I just forget about it, because I have a Samsung phone that has this routines thing on it. And the way the routines thing works is it's sort of based on where you are or what network you're connected to. It will change certain settings on your phone automatically. So when I'm at home, for example, it turns on all my notification sounds. Because I don't mind hearing those generally when I'm at home, but when I'm at work, it turns them all off because no one wants to hear my phone pinging all day at work. And inevitably, I forget that's the case when I start recording. And my friends always pick the exact moment I start recording to start having an in-depth conversation about something. Nope. I think we might need to get into this big room in the middle. There's a door there. It's promising. Alright. Is this it? No. Wait, what? Well, that's annoying. There, I was thinking we were right at the end already. It's been 40 minutes. So, while I continue wandering around aimlessly, I think I will continue to do long episodes on this series. Just because it means that we can get through the games a bit quicker in terms of weeks. I mean, it's still going to be the same total amount of time. But it just means that... I mean, I'm probably still going to spend a lot of weeks on each individual game, but... it will be slightly fewer... than it... Oh, hello. I forgot about that. I don't think he's going to be a problem somehow, because I'm pretty sure that he just... he's about the same strength as he was when you first fight him. Do love this boss music though. Yep, there we go. Down already. Probably don't even really need to buff for those fights. Alright, next please. So can you tell what's probably going to happen next? Oh, got to get all the way round to get to those stairs down. We're getting some different enemies at least. What state is our bestia in, just out of interest? 87%. That's not doing too bad. There's a few bits and pieces missing here and there. But not that many. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go for a full 100% run on this or anything, because that's ridiculous, but... It's a relatively casual playthrough. You can see the vast majority of what the game has to offer. Which means that if you do want to do a full 100% run, getting all the bestiary, and it's not an unreasonable thing to take aim for doing. I reckon it'll probably take you about 30-40 hours, maybe. Which is considered quite short for an RPG these days. Again, I have to ask, where the fuck am I? There we go. And then... Red dragons! Oh no! You'll probably die just as quickly as all of the other dragons. Yep. Nice. More levels? Where are we at now? 66. Ridiculous. Uh-oh. Surprise boss? Surprise boss. Just kill her. Maybe I will haste them. Or Sam at least. No, wrong. Haste on Sam. Unnecessary. Onward. We notice how the enemies are themed after the fiend. That rhymes. They're themed after the fiend that you will fight at the end of the floor. So now we're on to all the water enemies. And then I suspect we'll have wind enemies. And then we'll be done. Don't remember where to go on this floor, obviously. Not that I remember where to go on any floor. That group of pillars looks like a group of pillars I want to be on the other side of. Ooh, what's this? Nothing at all. No, nothing there. Hello, said the sea troll. Oh, for fuck's sake, said Pierre. I thought we'd seen the last of you. Oh, Sam has hit 999 hit points. Hello. What do you reckon? 2 turns or 3 turns? Let's find out! Two turns. Nicely done. And onward. Like I say, I suspect wind-themed enemies on this floor. That's not the right way. Oh no, vampires. A vampire! I can't do a vampire voice now without thinking about a recent episode of a podcast I really like called Cheap Show. Because the humour in that podcast is just very similar to the incredibly childish humour that my friends and I indulge in quite regularly. And it's just an incredibly stupid thing, but a couple of episodes ago there was a vampire and their impression was just like, "Want to suck your cock." Like I say, childish and stupid. But I like it because I'm a child. There's some windy stuff. Look how their attack appears to be a bitch slap to the face. Nice. If there's nothing at the end of this wibbly wobbly passageway, I'm going to be annoyed. There's another wibbly wobbly passageway. Treasure! Masamune. It's not worth checking this, but 80. A legendary katana without peer. Apart from the other stuff you've got, which is better. Oh, he can use Masamune. That's interesting. We can use Ultima Weapon as well. That's very interesting. It's probably not a good idea to give him a weapon that is bound to his hit points, though, is it? Let's see what that does. I suspect he will end up doing half as many hits. But let's see what that does to his damage. Respectable. I think I will take it off him though. Just because having, I think the more hits is more valuable generally. Nearly now. I thought this was going to be a quick one. Still, relatively speaking. Right, let's try over here. Oh, hello. This is the right way then. Not taking a lot of damage from the punches. In that case, let's give Sam a bit of tempering as well. That's more like it. Ooh, 3 turns. Missed. There we go. Right, I think we legitimately are nearly there now. What is all this nonsense? Before I go in there, oops. Let's just heal up and ether up. And save. Not that I think we're going to have a problem here. Level 66. Insane. Right, anyway. In we go. Do you remember me? I was once known as a Knight of Cornelia. "2,000 years from now, you killed me. I am Garland." Oh. You did defeat me then. But the 4 great forces saved me by sending me back through time. Once here, I sent the 4 fiends into the future, where they shall once again use the 4 great forces to send me into the past. In 2,000 years, I will remember none of this. But I will be reborn again here. So even as you die again and again, I shall return. Born again into this endless circle that I have created. It's chaos! So, you know how people say that Final Fantasy VIII has a confusing storyline? Well, the whole time loop, weird messing around with time stuff has been a thing right from the very beginning. That stuff there was not added for this version. It's been there from the very start, so don't you be telling me it was better in the old days. I'm not expecting Chaos to put up much of a fight, to be honest. But we'll see how many turns he lasts for. Alright, that's 2 turns. This is our 3rd one. Oh no, don't reduce Tom's number of attacks. What will we do? Yeah, doing respectably, Chaos. You're doing better than your friends, for sure. I think Tom can go on heel slap duty now. You can continue tempering people. Look at you with your unique animations. And pathetic damage. Alright, keep at it, boys. I do like the final boss music for this. It's a shame that they didn't give Chronodia some unique music, because we've already heard this at this point. And I always think it's really nice when you reach the end of a game and you have a completely unique piece of music to enjoy. But this is acceptable. Oh, we're done. So you sink into that puddle of light and don't come back! Dirty, rotten demon! I'm going to remember to read this slowly this time. The time loop was severed at last. The endless struggle that raged over 2,000 years had ended, and peace prevailed once more. The light of the four crystals restored the forces of wind, water, earth, and fire. It was a mere trick of fate that had given rise to the chain of Garland's wrath. But magnified by the four forces meant to guide our world. That trick of fate also gave birth to the fiends. Monsters ran rampant, and the world sank into darkness. Come on, it's supposed to be uplifting. We just fixed everything. Stop giving us exposition in the ending. But all that is now past. With the four forces flowing as they were meant, the warriors prepared to cross time and return to the world they knew. A world where Princess Sarah, Queen Jane, and even Garland himself await. Fuck the king, am I right? When was this fateful day that sent time spiraling into a loop? None can say. There's more. There's still more. It seemed the cycle into which time had fallen would last forever. But the bravery of 4 young travellers changed that. They took the forces that filled the world with darkness and used them to bathe the world in light. This has the same problem as the intro, doesn't it? Where it just goes on slightly too long to be comfortable and it's just slightly too slow to be comfortable. None will ever recall the struggle the 4 endured. For the breaking of the chain means that it never existed. So basically, everything you did was mostly meaningless. Hope you enjoyed yourself! But within the tales of fantasy that people tell, the memory of their deeds lives on. So it wasn't a complete waste of time then. That's alright then. Tales of dwarves and elves, of dragons and shining civilizations that reached for the heavens even as they fell. And now, their return is upon us. With the memory of their struggle buried deep in their hearts, they will quietly watch over our world. Remember always that the forces of the world must be used as they were intended. That the power of light must never be used for dark. And that the true crystals reside in your heart. For you are the warrior who crossed time. That's right. You, or more accurately me, but you were here for it. So, you know, you can have some of the credit. You are the bringer of light. Birds! And that's that. We are done with Final Fantasy 1 out of 15, plus a few extras. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I did. I really like this game. I know it's not the best, the deepest, the most complex, the most mechanically interesting Final Fantasy, but there's just something very pleasant about it. It's a very comfy game to play. It's a classic old RPG with good reason, and this PSP version is, as I've said, a great way to experience it. Particularly if you find sort of the foibles of the NES version a little bit difficult to deal with. And then plus you've got all that cool extra content, you've got the better graphics, you've got the better music. It's just very much a feeling of bringing the first games in line with sort of the golden age of the series, which a lot of people still regard as the 16-bit era. I might dispute that to a certain degree, but, well, I'm sure we'll come to those discussions as we continue to progress through this series over the course of what is likely to be the coming years at this point. But I'm glad I made a start on this, and I'm glad I've made it all the way through this first game. Because it's one of those games that's often sort of referenced as being very influential and very important and stuff, but people don't tend to talk a lot about the details of it. And so it's been really interesting to sort of revisit this and see the interesting things that it does, the interesting things that the subsequent remakes added to it, and yeah, see that it's still definitely got a lot of value to it. And yeah, like I say, it's a game I still like very much, and it's very replayable because of the whole sort of assemble your party thing at the beginning of the game. We took one of the most conventional lineups of party members it's possible to play with in this particular playthrough, but there's nothing stopping you having a go at playing through with a party of all white mages, party of all black mages, party of all monks, if you don't mind them all dying all the time. Apparently, it's sort of a four masters run is quite a common thing for people to do. Just because the damage output you can get from four masters is just absolutely colossal, as you can probably imagine. I've never tried that myself. Every time that I've played Final Fantasy, I've always gone with fighter, melee damage dealer, white mage, black mage. I don't even often use red mage. Red mages are quite interesting. Just because of their whole sort of jack of all trades nature. But, yeah. I mean, I like to sort of go old school. But yeah, this credit sequence is a lot longer than the one from the NES original version. The NES original version, I think, credited the programmer. Nasir, I think his name was. Didn't have a surname. He does have a surname, but he wasn't credited with his surname. Because that sort of wasn't really the done thing in that era, for some reason. So yeah, pretty small team worked on the original. Pretty huge team worked on this. And this is... how old? Over 10 years old at this point, this remake. And sort of teams of people at developers and publishers have got even bigger and more bloated ever since then. But I mean, you can see a lot of people in these credits are business people rather than people who necessarily worked directly on the game itself. Not that the business people don't have an important role to play. But, you know, back in the NES era, it was, shall we say, uncommon to see your marketing team credited in your game credits. And especially not your Director of Legal Affairs and Associate General Counsel. Oh, Tosei worked on this. I actually didn't know that. Tosei, if I remember rightly, is one of those companies who have done loads of things, but they... I think I'm thinking of the right company here, but they describe themselves as ninja programmers or ninja developers, which means that they tend to work on stuff, but then don't brand it themselves. They just sort of assist with all sorts of things, and don't take credit for it. Which is kind of a strange way of doing things. But they've been around for years at this point. Like, if I am thinking of the right company, which I'm pretty sure I am, they date right back to sort of the 80s, I think. Oh, there we are. There's Lucia. Yeah, Tosei, I think, date right back to the 1980s, and I think they worked on stuff like Vanguard for SNK. But they've sort of been beavering away in the industry ever since then, on all sorts of stuff. So yeah, interesting to know that they worked on this. I actually didn't know that before. I had no idea about that before. But anyway, we have reached the end of Final Fantasy 1 for PSP. And I'm running out of things to say, so these credits better finish quickly. Because that's it, you fade out. You fade out. Wonderful. There we go. Now I can safely sign off. Not that I needed to talk through the entire credits, but, you know, it's nice to... Is it nice to do that? I think it is. Anyway, thank you for coming with me on this journey. There are more journeys like it to come. So we'll be kicking off Final Fantasy 2 next, which is one of the least well-regarded installments in the series. But again, the PSP version, I think, does a lot to fix a lot of the issues that people have with the original release of it, certainly. And it's not a bad game. People like to make out that it's a bad game, but it's not. And we'll come onto that when we actually start playing it. So, I'm going to save game clear data. Save it in slot 2. Oh, look at him. So little. Save it in slot 2 so that if I do want to go back and play again, I can do. I'm going to start a new game plus with that second file there, which means you can start a new game with your bestiary intact. I don't think you carry anything else over. But anyway, as I say, thank you for coming with me on this journey. Plenty more where that came from. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. Be sure to check out moegamer.net for new articles on Japanese and Japanese-inspired video games, new and old, every weekday. Every month, Moegamer features an in-depth exploration of an individual game or series as its cover game, so be sure to check the archives to see if your favourite has had a deep dive yet. If you'd like to support the site directly, please consider becoming a patron or buying me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.